Good morning, everyone. Thank you for coming, and we're going to be demoing today the Tenzing Manager Server. The Tenzing Manager Server is our cloud-optimized management system for your thin and zero client infrastructure. The Tenzing Manager is a Windows-based application. You can install it into your Windows server, and it will manage all of your thin and zero clients, whether they are inside of your office or outside of it. It is a free product. We give it to you along with the purchase of your zero clients, and you can install it onto any server in your environment. The Manager Server is 4 different applications in one package. It includes the Manager Server component. There is also a console, a localized console that runs in the Windows MMC framework. There is a cloud connector. The cloud connector is optimized for your external clients in order to allow those clients to be available to you outside of your network, whether they're home-based or in your home office. You're able to use those from outside of your network. And then finally, the web console. The Tenzing Manager web console is available for use through any HTML5 applicable browser, and will allow you to use from a browser interface all of your management applications. The Manager Server is the core component of the Tenzing Manager. It monitors all of your machines. It is responsible for deploying and retrieving configurations, and it handles all of the communication with your Tenzing devices. It also stores all of the information about their configurations and their runtime environments. The Manager console runs in the MMC server framework. It will allow you a localized interface to manage your Tenzing Manager so that you can install it onto your local workstation, and you can use that as well for all of your endpoint needs. The cloud connector is our external-based component. This can install either inside of your network or into your DMZ, and it will allow you to manage machines that are outside of your network. If you have home-based users, or if you are in the increasingly prevalent dispersed workforce model, you can manage all of your machines from the Tenzing Manager through the web or through the cloud connector interface. It connects through an encrypted SSL-based tunnel and will allow for configuration, for management, and for remote access to those endpoints, even if they are in a disparate location. The web console, again, works through any HTML5 compliant browser. It will allow you also to have that web-based interface so that you can manage the Tenzing Manager even if you don't have a local console installed. For remote users, it can also be enabled for external access so that that console can be managed from anywhere. Security is done by a role-based access control model. The role-based access control will utilize Active Directory in order to define groups and or users who have access to each individual component of the Tenzing Manager. You can define access control lists to enable users to have every single permission that you want within the manager individually. They can do everything from configuring devices to pushing those configurations out to redeploying devices, factory defaulting, etc. Discovery and registration in the console is done through an SRV record. You can use an SRV in your DNS structure, and your Tenzing appliances will automatically find the Tenzing Manager. As soon as they power on, the first thing they do when they pull their IP address is to query that record, and they will register themselves. There's no more discovery needed within the network. For your cloud connector, each of those units, when it discovers the manager, will create an encrypted SSL-based tunnel. It'll do this on the port of your choice, but it'll create that tunnel and maintain it for the entirety of the time that that machine is turned on. The manager will receive that registration from the endpoint. It'll create the encrypted tunnel, and it will hold that WebSocket-based connection open. Once that secure tunnel is created, it will maintain the entirety of the session that the unit is in use. For legacy networks that don't support SRV, or if you don't have that record in-house, you can also create IP-based discovery. We do IP range support. You can support multiple ranges or individual, either one as you see fit. The enhancement of the SRV record method, of course, is that you don't have broadcast packets flowing throughout the network. SSL certificates are supported throughout the Tenzing Manager product. We use them for the Cloud Connector access as well as for the web console connection, so that all of your data is secured at all times. All of the transmission between the Tenzing Manager and the endpoints is encrypted, and everything is secure regardless of where that client happens to live. The role-based administration tool is available within the Tenzing Manager and allows for you to create your access control lists based on Active Directory groups or individual users, whichever way you see fit. Your group allocations can be for major categories, as you see in the orange sections here, but each one of those major categories also breaks down into an extremely granular list of individual processes that can either be allowed or disallowed for each user. Our client configuration consists of auto-naming your clients. You can use these for asset tag management. You can use them for session shadowing in order to determine the name of the device that you're trying to shadow. And it's configurable so that you can create naming regimens based on your group membership. You also have the ability to create on-demand naming, whether at discovery time or at group time. And you can create a centralized name list that is applicable mostly to asset tagging, so that you can create an enforced list for naming your devices automatically. You can add Windows units, we do support Windows as well, to individual OUs and to Active Directory as a whole, automatically with the Tenzing Manager. For our group configurations, you can create IP-based groups in order to logically separate units into relevant groupings for your business. You can configure them based on the type of unit that they are. You can configure them based on the type of firmware that they have, or you can even configure them based on the naming algorithms that they're using. Our centrally managed configuration conveniently allows you to create a template and apply it to a group model in order to enforce that template across multiple endpoints. Each one of those templates, when created and applied to that model, will take that initial configuration, will configure a single unit, and will push that configuration out to the remaining units within that group. You can do the configuration either by the MMC console, or you can do it through the web console, either one. For the configuration in the MMC console, you can create your template settings, you can create your VDI connection, your USB redirection settings, you can set your time zone information, your certificates, even your printers can be defined within your template. This also works for branding the devices. If you have a particular brand or marker that you want to add to the units, either as background wallpaper or for the login screen, either one, both are able to be done within the manager. Our firmware updates are available on an on-demand basis. You can also, however, schedule those updates. We support scheduled tasking through all of our clients for many different applications, but primarily they're used for scheduled tasking or for firmware updating. Firmware updates, when applied, will not remove the configuration from your units, but will simply upgrade their firmware versions so that you can quickly go back to work. You also have the ability to allow your end users to defer those updates so that they can take place at a later date or time, and also so that you can schedule those and allow them to be done from a peer-to-peer environment rather than having to come from the manager. This is very relevant if you have a large number of remote locations and don't want to push all of your updates directly from the manager out to those units. Now, as I said earlier, we do support Windows clients as well. Our Windows clients are image customizable, which means that we can tailor those to your needs. This is a service that we offer as a company. We are able to configure that Windows to be customized to your use case. The package manager inside of the Tenzing Manager will allow us to push not only application updates, but also Windows updates, new applications, new client updates, and any other package that you can create out to your endpoints. The Unified Write Filter is supported in Windows 10, which will allow you to configure your units to a base image, and then will preclude the end user from making any changes to those units outside of the write filter. A simple reboot returns those units back to their factory state as they had been previously. We also support the cloning of images. You can sysprep an image and create your own gold images directly from the Tenzing Manager. You have the ability in here to not only deploy packages, but once you've deployed those, to make that backup so that you can create your newest gold image. You can set your language settings, your time zone settings, and many more options within Windows. You also have the ability to deploy images through the Tenzing Manager. We can push your gold images out to all of your machines remotely. You can take that image, you can place it into 100 machines. It takes about a minute per machine, and you can deploy all of those images directly from the manager. And as I said earlier, we do support image customization. We can make your image your own for you, and we can not only do that, but we can also deploy it at the time of manufacture to your endpoints, so that you receive them pre-configured. The Windows Package Manager not only supports batch and executable files, it also supports all of Microsoft's update formats. It supports registry scripts, Visual Basic scripts, so that you can have exactly the application delivery platform that you need. It also works with the UWF functionality in Windows to allow you to make those changes and then commit them into the Unified Write Filter so that they become permanent. And you can do that based on a scheduled task model again. The Unified Write Filter is supported on all of our Windows clients. It stores all of your volume information into the memory of the device, creating an overlay that is erased each time that unit's rebooted. When you lock it down with the Unified Write Filter, your end users can use the device all day long. They can do anything they want to it, and at the end of that session, if it's rebooted, it will go back to exactly what it had been previously. UWF can be turned on and off via the Tenzing Manager. All of the changes that you create through the UWF can be committed by the Tenzing Manager, and the Package Manager can be configured to work through the Unified Write Filter as well, so you can still deploy your packages even if you're using the filter to lock down your units. The UWF also supports exclusions for files or folders. You can exclude registry entries, and we also support HORM, or Hibernate Once, Resume Many. We have right-click administration within the Tenzing Manager for all of your Windows clients. You can set passwords. You can create the auto logon settings for different user profiles. You can see the processes that are running on the endpoints, and you can even see the contents of the system drive directly from the Tenzing Manager. We support Wake on LAN, firmware updates, configuration applications, and more, all through the scheduled tasking functionality. When you create the scheduled tasks, you can set the frequency that they run, 1 day, 1 week, or on a customized interval to your liking. We do support remote access to all of our clients using VNC. For the Cloud Connector clients, that VNC is also running through that encrypted SSL-based tunnel. For our non-cloud connected clients, it runs in a standard VNC format, allowing for two-way interaction with the endpoint for the technician and for the end user. This allows that remote access session not only to be used for troubleshooting the devices, but also for onboarding your new users. You can train and teach new people in a console directly on the device without ever having to send someone to their desk to train them. You can configure that VNC session to support password requirements. You can even set it to tell the end user when the session begins and when it ends, so that they know that it's okay to go back into that confidential data. We also support Wake on LAN, remote shutdown, and remote reboot of all of our clients. The Tenzing Manager supports reporting. We do have reporting features based on all of the attributes of our thin and zero client infrastructure through the Tenzing Manager. You can create your customized reports directly out of the manager based on the criteria that you specify in your reporting regimen. You can create model, firmware-based reports. You can create type of machine reports, drive space, memory, whatever you want to do. And afterwards, you can output that information into an Excel file, out into a CSV format, or out into a PDF. I appreciate your time. Thank you so much. And everyone have a great day. Thank you so much.